Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another JaYoe conversation. I'm Matt, coming to you from a gloomy, well, not so much gloomy, but it is a slushy, cold, wet day in Ningbo. I am doing a run. I just finished my run, and I'm a little bit chilly because I'm a little bit wet and it's a little bit cold, but I thought I'd at least do a little JaYoe conversation today. Today's JaYoe conversation is going to be a bit, well, it's going to be about my diet, because I think I've been doing this diet for a long time. I've been talking about it in a lot of my videos. It's become the topic of, or a guiding principle in many ways for what I eat when I go places and how I take care of myself. And I started it on my cycle tour as I was cycling around the world. I tried initially to pick up a keto lifestyle, and I thought that from what I've heard from friends, that if you can get into ketosis and make your body start processing proteins instead of sugars and carbohydrates, then your body will kind of change. And I thought that was an interesting proposition. It was originally something I thought was going to be hard to do on the road, but as I have created this system for myself, and just myself, mind you, I feel like I've found the perfect traveling diet for the solo world traveler, I think. Let me tell you why. So I started doing keto and trying to cut out noodles, rice, breads, sugars, simple sugars, and breakfast in general. Cut it from my lifestyle while I was on the road. This was before Chinese New Year, before February and COVID and all of this jazz. I was cycling from Cambodia, out of Cambodia, into Thailand and Malaysia. I was questioning whether it was possible. It was a little experiment. Can I actually cut rice and noodle out of my diet when I was cycling through Asian countries? It's kind of the staple of food that people eat when they're in Asia, and so I was kind of testing that theory. What I found was that you can find roadside stands with chicken. You can find fish in many cases, especially through Southeast Asia. A lot of green vegetables. That's the other thing you got to cut out: starches. Any vegetables that grow underground, like potatoes or radishes or, you know, carrots. Those are no-nos. And so it took some doing, but not as much doing as I had thought. And so I started this keto lifestyle. We'll call it a lifestyle because I'm kind of working it into my life, and I'm thinking that if I balance it as this hybrid, that I can have it work for me the way it has over the long term. Because typically if you go full keto, you can't necessarily do it forever. You have to balance keto life with a more normal diet. And I'll tell you how I'm balancing that and how I think I can actually manage it long term. Keto is just one part of the puzzle. There's a couple of other parts. The second part is intermittent fasting. Now, if you guys haven't heard of intermittent fasting, it's kind of a popular thing. It's allowing your body to cannibalize the existing nutrients in your body before you feed it more. I think that as a human race, in a world of abundance and Walmart and all of these supermarkets that are easily accessible, whether you're in China or anywhere else in the world, food is not as difficult to come by as it might have used to be when we were hunter-gatherers. And so our bodies are sort of like, yeah, we'll take it. You got it? We'll take it. Hey, you got that? We'll take that. Do we need it? Maybe not. Will I take it? We'll find a space for it. And you know where that space was? Your ass, or your hips, or your face and your cheeks and your neck. And you know, your body has a lot of places to store that stuff. So intermittent fasting is sort of going back to the hunter-gatherer days, but in modern times. And what it does is it allows you to structure meals. Now, I'll tell you the way that I do it. I don't eat breakfast. I eat my first meal of the day around noon. And then I eat my last meal of the day around 6 or 7. I don't eat snacks as much as possible. And I don't eat any meals in between those two, if possible. And I'll tell you what, it was a little hard in the beginning, but it got pretty easy. I've done this in 2 phases. I've done it on the road while I was traveling, and I've done it again since I've been in China. There was a period in between where I failed. I let myself go. I gained a lot of weight back, and it was a bit frustrating. But at this point in time, right now, as I'm talking to you, I am in ketosis, 1. I feel an abundance of energy, 2. And I am not hungry until I feel like my body is saying you should eat. And I'm learning that there was a whole bunch of times in my past that my body wasn't telling me you should eat. It was saying, we'll take it. And when you understand those 2 different terms that your body is signaling for, it becomes quite easy to go without food for a long period of time. And that's why I think it's a really great way to travel diet. In one way, you think it's difficult to find foods that'll suit a keto diet. And in many ways, it is. It's very easy to go into a place, grab a bread. It's very easy to go into a place, get some noodles, get some rice. It's a little bit harder to find the things that suit keto. A little bit. But when you combine it with intermittent fasting, you don't need as much. You see what I'm saying? So I found that I might have to wait a little bit longer to find what I need in smaller quantities. But because of intermittent fasting, I didn't need to eat so much, and I wasn't eating so often. And eating so much brings up the third thing. So there's intermittent fasting, there's keto, and then there's portion control. Portion control is really, really important. That's the other thing. My dad, God bless him, I called him when I grew up the great white shark. That guy would look at a plate of food, his jaw would basically dislocate like a snake or a big great white, his eyes would roll back, black eyes, doll's eyes, and he would just consume like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He would just consume every stitch on the plate, and he would get seconds and thirds. Now he had changed before he died. He actually got his urges for eating under control, but I inherited that. I was a monster. And just like I was telling you earlier, my body was sending me signals that were like, I'll take it. I'll take it as often and as large as you can give it to me, over and over and over. And so I kind of built this pace. I built this habit of eating often and eating a lot until recently. And I got to tell you what, man, I don't eat a lot, certainly not as much as I used to per portion, and I don't feel hungry as often. And I eat really clean foods. I haven't had a sugary drink like a Coke, or even you guys know I go to Starbucks all the time. Like, I love Starbucks. But you know that when I go to Starbucks, I get a black Americano every time. No sugar, no milk. Nothing. Nothing. I used to love those Frappuccinos. I love those sweet coffees. But I didn't love what they did to me. They made me feel slow, heavy, and lazy. Same with the bread, same with the carbs, same with the sugars, same with all of that stuff. It all made me, same with, all those starches. It all made me feel, blah. And now that I've cut them out, basically completely, the reason I say hybrid is because I do eat prepared foods that I know are prepared with ingredients that aren't necessarily part of keto. Chinese foods are sort of full of oils and they're stir-fried. The vegetables, you get a lot of vegetables in China. Actually, it's very easy to eat greens in China, but they're slathered in sort of sauces, and I'm sure those sauces have some carbs in them. And so I know that I'm not living a completely keto life, which allows me to understand that I could probably do this a lot more long term. By balancing along the edge of keto and not keto, I'm not dipping completely in, which almost starts a stopwatch, because you can't go full keto, I think, for too long. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can I go full keto for a long time? I've heard so many people with so many different theories. But right now, as we speak, I can go probably 24 to 48 hours without eating. I can do that without feeling like I'm starving myself. And when I do eat, I can eat a very small amount, feel very satisfied, and the amount I eat, I have controlled myself to do so in a healthy way. So why is it the perfect traveling diet? It gives you control. Now, I go out and I travel, and I might eat something off of the menu, off of my diet. But I do so with the understanding that I got to do it in portion control if I want to control myself. And I enjoy it that much more because I'm treating myself. And then I go back to the original diet as quick as possible. And like for my thing, I'm a cycle tour guy. So I need proteins. I need stuff that's going to generate energy for me. Now, carbohydrates typically do that, so do sugars, but I cut those out and instead replace them with vitamins and proteins. And now that I'm in ketosis and balancing on the edge of ketosis, I'm actually consuming body fat and those things that your body's designed to turn into energy. And I actually feel great, much better under this system. I've felt this way now for about 2 weeks. I've been riding this sort of high for about 2 weeks, and I have been in the in this diet for quite some time. It took a long time to get to where I am right now, but I have been. It's well worth it, you know. But the situation with being a cycle traveler, for example, is that especially when you're riding through strange countries, sometimes it's hard to find food. Sometimes you're trying to fill your gut, you're trying to find that massive quantity, and you're looking around for a place to eat, and you end up wasting the day away looking for something to eat. Instead of saying, oh, I passed by that place that has food I would like to eat, I'm going to stop there and eat. Instead, you're like, oh, I got to get some food, I got to get some food, I got to get some food. I had been about in this zone a couple of times when I was on the road, and it was so nice because I was traveling without the urge, I gotta find someplace to eat. It was freeing. And if I couldn't find something to eat for the whole day, even though it was very strange because I was cycling like 120 kilometers a day in some days, and I barely needed a meal in many cases. I would forget to eat. Like, no breakfast, no problem. And then around noon, I'm like, I should probably eat something. Find something to eat, make sure it's manageable, continue on my way. And it was quite interesting. Now, a lot of the videos where I'm talking about this, I haven't even published yet because COVID came and I was about a month behind on my videos. And when I came to China and I noticed that there was a pandemic, I stopped publishing all of my old videos to catch up to present day. And they're sitting in my computer. You guys would see them. A lot of them are me traveling around Malaysia and Thailand, southern Thailand, and talking about this sort of issue, these sort of things that I went through. So maybe some of this stuff you haven't heard before, but I kind of wanted to share it in a conversation to explain to you what my diet has been, why I'm so obsessed with it, why I continue to talk about it while I'm doing these sorts of trips and traveling around, and why I think it's important, what it's done for me. I have a very small amount of urge to eat. I have a small amount of desire for high quantities. I've been running, and my physical output is way up. So I'm feeling more energetic. I feel like I'm firing more on all cylinders up top. I just feel all around like things are clicking. And so if you guys have any questions for me about this, you let me know, because I'd be happy to answer. I do want to do a shout out. Austin in China. Austin, I will leave his links below. He lost 100 pounds? He lost 100 pounds, right? He lost a lot of weight on keto. And he has a story. I'll link to it in the description. I'll even put it in the corner of this video for you to watch. It's a very interesting video. It was inspiring to me. But it's not an easy diet. I'm telling you now, it's not easy. But once you get into the swing of things, it's very sustainable. And I'll be interested to put my thumb on this video to see how far down the line the sustainability is. If you look at my face, you can see I've most certainly started to thin out, and it feels very good. That's another positive to it, is that you have a little bit more self-confidence. You feel good in your skin, and I feel like I'm feeling better in my skin every day because I have a bit more energy. I don't want to eat so much. I don't want to eat so often. And I know when I do eat, I drink a shit ton of water. That's the other thing. You got to drink a lot of water, because you're eating a different set of foods, and you want to make sure to be able to have a good system running constantly through your body. And I went on a trip with CCTV recently in Dunhuang, which is a desert area, and I think I dehydrated myself a bit. So that is definitely certainly something you need to watch. Definitely watch your water intake by keeping it going. So anyways, thanks a lot, guys. I did want to talk about this. It's a bit of a strange conversation, but if you watch my channel, you know I've talked about this a lot. If you're watching this from the outside and maybe you were just enticed by an interesting title about dieting, my name's Matt. I'm typically cycling around the world. Now I'm traveling around China, and I'm kind of talking about China-specific topics in a lot of ways, and I'm trying to enjoy life and share beautiful moments around the world as the world goes through a very strange period of time. So join, like, subscribe, share. I also have a podcast on Patreon, so if you check out my Patreon in the links below, you can check that out. I do daily podcasts that are, I think, interesting. If you ask my Patreons, they'd probably say it's pretty interesting. And otherwise, thanks for listening. I think it's important, especially during the pandemic period, that we focus on keeping our bodies as healthy as possible, because they're our first line of defense with regards to the dealing with this virus if we do get it. So if you're healthier, then hopefully you're going to be able to fight this thing a little bit better. On top of that, it's just a smart thing to do to be healthier, overall. And that's what you need to say to yourself when you look at that little chocolate cookie or whatever. My daughter, my wife buys my daughter these chocolate cupcakes from Starbucks. And many a Starbucks cupcake has had one bite from my daughter, and it ends up getting left. And Daddy used to take charge and clean up those chocolate chip muffins, and I have had to, on many occasions, take that whole muffin and just drop it in the garbage can, which is a waste. I realize that, but with my diet, I think the idea of finishing off a piece of food because you think you have to, as opposed to trying to get your daughter to eat a little bit more healthy, maybe is a better solution. Anyways, resist and be healthy. Take it easy, guys. JaYoe, have a good one, and check this place out. This is very nice. This is an area of Ningbo that I like to run up and down here. And there's a cultural center up there that's quite nice. There's all sorts of paths, so you can run up and along the river here. And that restaurant there was where I took my wife for her birthday. Very hoity-toity, nice place. And yeah, I live just up the road, and so we're gonna go home. So I just thought I'd tell you. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do enjoy this episode, I don't have anything else to share on diet. Maybe I'll give you an update down the road. But did you like this? Have you tried keto? Tell me your keto story. Did it work for you? Were you able to end up getting in ketosis? It was very hard for me to end up getting in ketosis. I actually did a pee test at a hospital a few days ago, and it told me, hey, you're in ketosis. And I was like, oh shit, finally. So anyways, I also really like the color. Just look at this beautiful color here and the lights in the background. Do you know how I got this? Is I'm standing in front of an office, and this office has some really nice light coming out. So that, just a little hint, guys, if you're making videos, if you can find a ambient light source with a nice lighting in the back, you can get a shot kind of like this. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.